Assalamu alaikum, wonderful viewers. Welcome to the Political Hour Show here on Eco TV International, the People's Choice, where we invite politicians, youths, and women to discuss about the trending issues in our country here. And today, my guest is Mr. Penn, a backward returnee and a teacher. He will introduce himself better shortly, but before that, you can kindly follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Sponsors are also invited. You can call on the various numbers on the screen to sponsor this program. I am your host, Rohit Toure. Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Penn.
Thank you very much, Rohi. I'm fine indeed.
Okay, please introduce yourself.
Hello viewers. My name is Modu Sise. I'm a poet known as Poet Mr. Penn from Jokaro district, North Bank region of the Gambia. I am a backward returnee, a teacher, and a first year student of the University of the Gambia.
Well, that's fantastic, but one thing is that Caesar, you should change your surname to Ture.
No.
You should change it.
So far. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Penn. Well, we've learned that you went through this irregular migration, popularly known as backway. Yeah, but you came back.
Sure.
Now, but before all that, can you tell us about your experience before you decide to leave?
Well, before I leave for the journey, I was using poetry to advocate against irregular migration. I was embarking on mentorship, programs, helping young people, sensitizing them about irregular migration. So basically, I've been also doing advocacy campaign with youth against irregular migration. All these were ways in which I have a much understanding of irregular migration anyway before I embark on the journey. So my experience about irregular migration was the fact that I was totally involved in the advocacy before. What are the dangers, what are the possibilities, and what are some of the risks associated with the journey. So I was well informed about everything about irregular migration anyway.
Okay, and what also really triggered you to embark on this journey?
I have never wanted to go to irregular and to go to backway, but then one of the main reasons was academic reason.
Okay.
Because I wanted to go to University of the Gambia after completing my college, and then during that time I struggled so hard to finance my education, so I could not have any means in which I would be able to finance my UTG education. So basically that is what motivated me to embark on the journey, because at that time I feel like I cannot achieve anything in the Gambia. I cannot achieve my academic dream in the Gambia. So I think I have to try the chance through irregular migration and see whether I will be lucky to be among those that will cross the blue waters and then enter Lampedusa and then, grab some of those education opportunities down there.
Okay, then after taking on this journey, has anything been possible regarding to what you just said?
Well, no, because when I embark on the journey, I faced difficulties along the way. I've seen, travel things that happen along the journey. Okay. And then unfortunately, I wasn't able to cross to the Lampedusa anyway. So basically, it was not possible because at some point I was, detained. At some point I was sent to prison. And all these situations down there propelled me to return back to the Gambia. So it wasn't possible because I did not reach anyway. Okay,
and aside from you being detained, what are some of the challenges that you also faced during your journey?
Well, the challenges there are many anyway, but then there are some circumstances which I think are among the outstanding challenges which I will always want to talk about. One of it was during the time when we spent 7 good days crossing the Sahara Desert. During that time, we spent 3 good days. The first 3 good days, my food was finished, and then I did not have enough water. So I was very weak at that particular time. So then I wasn't able to complete, to go forward at that very moment. So I told them to leave me in the Sahara, and then they continue. And then when they go back home, let them explain to the family, to my family, or they go to the media and then tell them what exactly happened to me. So that was one of the experience I have, at the Sahara Desert. I was totally dehydrated. I was totally tired and couldn't continue the journey. So that was something that was very trouble. But at some point also, enough food. We did not have enough food in the journey. I understand that we used to sit down for a whole day without eating. We used to have 1 loaf of bread at some point. That loaf of bread, we have to divide it, 3 times. One for breakfast, the other one for dinner, and the other one for lunch. And we'll have, very, limited water, like 1 Evian bottle serving 2 people for a whole day in the Sahara Desert. So these were very difficult moments for us down there. But aside from that also, the environment where we live in used to be very nasty because we don't live in, we don't spend the night in houses. We normally spend the night in the bush, in the Sahara, on the mountains. So basically the life out there was...
With your colleagues, oh?
Yeah, with our colleagues, because
Okay.
in the journey you understand that you are not alone. You find there are many young people who are also from different countries going to the journey. So basically this was some of the challenges.
Was there any Gambian with you?
Yes, of course. I remember meeting, more than 500 Gambians along the journey from the start to the end. Because in any combat that you move, in any, street that you take, you find there your fellow Gambians. So many Gambians were there as well.
Okay, and you also mentioned about detain. Who were the people that detained you?
Well,
For what reason exactly?
Well, at some point of the journey, we were under the control of those the smugglers who are mostly Tuaregs. For them also, we pass through their hands, and then they don't detain us anyway, but then they control the way that we move. They also maltreat us. But then the authorities that detained me were the authorities of Tunisia. When I reached in Tunisia, less than 10 hours in Tunisia, I was detained, and then locked for 3 good days without enough food and water. And from there, then I was abandoned in the forest along with my other fellow Gambians. And from there, we walked back to Algeria. In Algeria also, we were detained from one prison to another,
What is it that you do that they detain you guys?
Well, for them, they are combating irregular migration. They don't want the
Okay.
migrants to pass through their countries to reach Europe.
Okay.
And I believe this is an agreement they have with the European countries at some point, who empower them, who give them the, some of the support to be able to stop irregular migration from the onset. So this is why they detain us, the migrants, and then they deport us to the Sahara Desert. Others are deported to the forest so that they can go back to their countries, or else go back to wherever they want, but not to cross through their countries to go to Europe.
Okay, and how do you feel physically, emotionally during your journey?
Well, physically I was very weak. Honestly, at that time, if you see me, you will not recognize me because due to the hunger, lack of enough food, and then I was very weak, and then I was very thinned. So physically, I was very weak. Because
No, sisters with food, if they don't have food for one day, they'll be terrible.
Exactly. At that very point, I will agree with you because the food was our main engine.
Yeah.
Because we used to walk for hundreds of kilometers. At any point, we used to walk for 100 kilometers per day, and sometimes we'll continuously walk, from one, night to another for a number of days. So basically, it was physically challenging. Emotionally, you have to be patient because what you have never experienced in your country is what you experience in the journey. Here you will eat proper food, there you will not eat any proper food. Here you will sleep, in your house, there you sleep in the bush and you sleep in the mountains. So emotionally, we have been affected. Personally, I was very affected. At some point, I was a little bit traumatized, I can say, because I have seen, many realities there. I have seen what the media have never published, which is the death, the torture, and then so many cruel, activities that happen on to these particular migrants. So this basically affected me emotionally at the start of the journey. But as time goes on, I take it as normal, as something that is real in the journey. So it didn't affect me as time goes on.
The reality is harsh.
Sure, exactly.
Yeah. So were you also tortured, or anyone among your group?
Of course, yes, we were being tortured. I can tell you at some point when we were crossing the Sahara, a small pickup, we were 46 people put in that particular pickup. So they arranged us in such a way that, everybody have to sit at the edge of the pickup. And then while they are arranging us there, they used to beat us. So during the, during the time we were crossing the Sahara, we were being tortured because they will beat us. And then they will also make so that we don't make noise. They will also make so that whatever they want from us, we are going to do it. We give them our money, we give them whatever we have. So they torture us at that particular moment. At some point also when we were being imprisoned, that one also is more than torture because somebody who imprisoned you didn't give you any food, didn't give you any water, and then end up abandoning you in the Sahara Desert or abandoning you in the forest. That is more than torture. So basically it was something that is very real there, and some individuals are also been attacked by militants where they will be beaten at some point. Some of them lost their lives, others they will be kidnapped and their families will be asked to give out money. And there was also a particular unique day where we were also being captured by rebels there in Mali, and then they torture us very seriously, and then from there they demanded ransom from us. We did not have it. Personally, I did not have it, and after they torture us for some point, they forgive us and then we continue. So the journey is full of torture, full of difficulties, and then full of something that you will never imagine will happen to black people are happening there.
Okay, so in that journey, it was only black people.
No, it's not only black people. We have people, I met people who come in every part of Africa anyway. People, some come from Benin, some come from Togo, and some even come from the Egyptian countries. We have some who come from the Afghanistan and then they pass through the Egypt and then come all the way to Tunisia and then try to cross. So we have people of different nationalities coming from different countries to cross. But why I say black people is that because most of the difficulties that I see there happen to the black people. So this is why I said, the black people is not easy down there for them.
This is really difficult for people, huh?
Exactly, it's not an easy journey for everyone.
It's not easy, definitely. They say we only leave home to feed home.
Exactly.
But then the reality hits hard,
Exactly, so it's not an easy journey down.
Is the government doing anything about this issue for the young people to embark on this journey and then they are brutally being beaten by these people on their way?
Well, the government's presence there is very limited. In all the places that we pass through, I have not seen any sign of a government agency or a government authority where they can help. So, and then the difficulty is that when you come and explain, people will never believe you, or some of them will live in doubt. Why? Because what you see there's no media that's there to publish it. You don't have any evidence to present.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for people to believe what you are saying or what you went through.
So seeing is believing.
Seeing is believing.
Yeah.
But then I believe the government can have a role to play in this. They can try to, look at the challenges of the young people, help them to tackle those challenges, and then those that are already on the journey, the government can collaborate with those authorities and make sure they go down to the towns, to the villages, those remote areas where these migrants are, and make sure they help some of them to come back to their countries. They go to the prison and then bring them back to their countries. So this is something that the government can do to make sure that at least they can help the people who are stuck there in the journey.
Okay, that would be a good move.
Sure.
Okay, and what were your biggest fears and hopes during this process?
Well, I have only one hope, and that the hope was that I will cross and then reach Europe, and when I reach Europe, I'll be able to get the education that I want and then come back to serve my country. But then my biggest fear was death, but I already signed for it because before going, I knew what was happening there. I used to, watch media channels. I used to watch the videos that are happening, that portray what is happening there. But with all that, I went ahead. So my biggest fear was death, but then I also signed that, okay, it's either I reach or I die, but I must try to pursue this dream and try my level best on that area.
Okay. And how has your life changed since you returned home?
Well, since I returned home, my life changed anyway because I learned lessons to be patient.
Yeah.
I learned to struggle, and then I learned to live on my own and believe in myself, and then have the confidence. Because all the difficulties I went through, they saved my life and they saved my thinking. Understand? So they saved my life, they saved my thinking, and now when I return back to the Gambia, I decided to focus on developing myself because I've seen the realities, what has happened there and what is happening there. So I said to myself, the only way to change is to acquire better education, focus on self-development, and then be able to better serve the people, because if not, this irregular migration will continue. Because if I succeed, somebody is looking up to me as a role model. That person also will say, okay, the only way to succeed, let me also go to the journey. So this is why when I return home, I try my level best to make sure that at least I focus on my self-development, and that is what led me to UTG. Despite the challenges continuing, I push forward with that particular opportunity.
Okay, and what kind of support or resources did you find helpful upon your return?
Well, upon my return anyway, there is no support that I receive, despite reaching out to some institutions and then some government agencies. I did not receive any support, but what I find helpful was the family support, and then that of my integration support with Youth Against Irregular Migration. Okay. Because I work with them, I go to their office, they give me that guidance, they give me that counseling. So that was a support that I received, and it was helping me really on to reintegrate successfully in society. So basically the experience I have also was something that also helped to save the way that I, the way that I assume how the way that I work. Because upon returning, I decided to focus on myself, and I decided to use all the energy that I have, everything that I have, to make sure that at least I, try to achieve my dream here in the Gambia. So basically, the support is not there, not for me alone, but I know there are also other migrant returnees who are also down there. They need the support, but they don't get it. So it's very difficult for migrants to get the support from both the government and then private individuals or philanthropists.
Yeah, okay. And are there any misconceptions about this backway or irregular migration journey that you would like to address?
Yes, there are misconceptions because most of the time what youths will think like, okay, the journey is very easy. Most of the people will think that, okay, you can just go to the journey, and then
like if you have money, you can go.
Exactly. Some of them will think that, okay, if I have money, let's say I have 200,000, I can reach. But let me tell you, even if you have millions of dollars, at this time of the journey, it's very difficult. When you go there, along in the journey, you understand that you meet there many people. I have met thousands of people there. And then I understand that, yeah, this number of people makes it very difficult for me to reach there. And people also think that the only way to succeed is by going to back way. But personally, I'm proving it wrong because when I go there, I see there are a lot of things. I see there are many difficulties. I return home and try to pursue my dream in the Gambia. So basically, people have this belief that I can only make it when I go to Europe, and that is not the reality on the ground. So people also, at some point, will assume that like they can go in the journey and then they will work and then continue to pay for themselves and then move on. But that is not also something that is always a good option for the migrants down there. So the misconceptions there are many, and then it need to be addressed anyway. And another one also is there, which is many people don't know that there are others who go to the journey and will never come back because they have died.
Yeah.
Others have been detained and others have been, killed, and then their family will never know where they are. So this is a misconception that people have to understand that the journey is not easy at all. And when there is one person who succeeds, know that there are thousands who have died. So that is what people have to understand. It's not like one person have been successful. I also, when I go, I'll be successful. Yeah. No, the realities there are very harsh, and I believe it's time for the young people to rethink and then stay in their
and country. I think that is also one of the reasons that drive people to go into this journey. Like example, my friend undertake this journey and she crossed.
Sure.
And she eventually made it. Then I will also say, okay, since he make it, I can also make it. Yeah, that is the thing. Sometimes that's what drives people to go to this journey. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. And also, what message would you give to the people or others considering this journey?
Well, my message to the young people is that backway is not the solution. And the reason why I say backway is not the solution is that I have went in the journey, I have went to backway, I have seen the reality there, and I come back to my country and I know that it is far better to stay in your country with all the struggle and the suffering than going on this journey. Because what you will suffer in this journey is more than the suffering that you will have in your country, or that you believe that unemployment will give it to you. So my message to the young people is that let them stay in the Gambia and then make sure that they try to explore different opportunities. Maybe one day they might be lucky to be successful in the Gambia. So this back way is never the solution because, I'm lucky to be alive, but there are others who are not lucky to be alive. There are others who have been kidnapped, and there are others who have spent more than 7 good years in the journey. And some their families have forgotten about them. And the most sad thing there is that I have seen people who lost their memories. I mean, they are mentally unstable. And those people will never have the chance to come back to their country. So all these are things that are happening in the journey. So the young people have to understand that backway is never the solution to their problems. Because once you embark in the journey, the difficulty that you face there are far more than what you face in your country. So it's better to stay here and then try to achieve a dream, help the young people, and then you help yourself. Because like I always say, if you are successful, you can only change the situation of your family, those that are closer to you, and not the situation of the entire country. The one who stay in the country, working here in the Gambia, is doing more, is contributing more to national development than you who is there, sending money to your family, and then it's stopped within a very smaller circle. So let them understand that backway is never the solution, and stay home and then try to explore the opportunities that are available here for you.
Okay, and you said that backway is not the solution, but many will say that, or like many say that the country, there's no employment in this country, nothing at all. That's why they embark on this journey. So what is your take on that?
Well, to me, I believe at some point, yes, there are some who go, they don't have employment. And for them, their reason is valid because some of them, they complete their education. They don't either have the ability to follow their education, or they don't have the job that is there to help them to sustain their family and themselves. But also there are people who go there also working. They also have employment. They also have employment there. So basically, the issue of unemployment is one problem which many people will take as as the reason for going. It's right, some of them don't have employment, but with all those things, once you embark on the journey, you will understand that, despite the lack of employment, it is better to stay in your country than embarking on this journey, because what you will spend in the journey, what you will face in the journey, what you will bear in the journey, if you bear it here, you are going to be successful. Imagine if a Tura Kundanka go there and then sit for 2-3 good days without eating, and still you have one mission which is going forward with all the difficulties you manage to go from one place to another. If you spend that particular thing here, that particular energy and that particular patience in the Gambia, there's nothing that you can achieve. So this is my belief anyway.
For the tourists, we are strong. I know we are strong. We can handle anything. When the sea says, no, those ones...
We are the legends anyway.
Bandadal. I'll not argue for that.
Sure.
All right. And also, recently, you've seen many protests conducted by the Gala members and Team Gomsabopa too, which is Believe in Yourself. Yeah. And so these people, they conducted many activities, which is the protest against corruption and many things, and also this past one, removal of the General Auditor General in his office. So what is your take on Gala and Team Gomsabopa conducting these activities against corruption?
Well, I think initially, the reason for the protest, initially the first protest, I think was very genuine, and then the Gambians come out in their line numbers to support them. But then something that become consistent, it become boring to the people, and then people do not listen to it that much. So I believe it's a very good cause that they were fighting for, against corruption. But with all that, they should also be able to consider and then know that violence is not the only way. I know they go out for peace, but then we understand that the history of protest in Africa is not always as we think it is. So sometimes it is better to engage in dialogue than embarking on this particular protest. I am not against the protest in one way, but I am saying that it is not also the solution to the problems that we're facing. Corruption is deeply rooted in every society and in every country, but then there's a way that we can also fight it rather than always going out to the street. I think they should always sometimes give the government time to also respond, engage into dialogue, and then be able to achieve it. But always coming out to do the protest or coming out to always occupy the street is not the solution. Because one of the most important things that I think any Gambian will always celebrate is that we have one of the most peaceful country. And the reason why I say so is that I have travel out of the Gambia. I passed through 8 African countries. With all those countries I passed through, the peace that I enjoy here, I will never enjoy it outside there. So let's maintain the peace in the Gambia and then be able to live in peace and tranquility. But I believe also the government also have to answer to their demands. Some of their demands are very genuine. Some of their demands are very genuine. The government have to look onto those demands and be able to address those demands and make sure they work collectively with these young people. Most of the young people down there, some of them who joined the protest, anyway, the government can bring them and work with them. They have very good ideas. They have very good plans for the country. So the government is supposed to take these people and now see how best they can work with them so that they can at least achieve what we all want for the Gambia. So basically, this is my take on Gala anyway.
Okay, well, that's very good. And also, now the internet is very expensive. It is disturbing the systems a lot. Because you people are very stingy. You don't like pulling out money. That is the case. So now, Pura, they've increased the internet, the data, the price of it. Every one gigabyte is $50, which is a problem to the CSS. So they went to Pura, like to give out their petition, but then the police came out and arrested them all. So now, what is your whole assessment about this Pura increasing, like restricting the
competition?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, I must admit that the competition was very enjoyable.
Thank you.
In the summer, I really enjoyed anyway. I enjoy, the internet. I always, do research, and sometimes when I go to class, I used to, just make a buy, and then will be teaching using my mobile phone through the internet, getting some pictures and videos. So it was very important at that very time. I believe the government should have at least leave the competition to go, and then we, the customers will enjoy. So I believe it was a very it was a change that, to be honest, doesn't favor most of us. So I believe the government should have looked at the strategies in which they could have employed to make sure that at least they control in another way rather than putting a limit to this data anyway. Because with all this, with all what was happening, like the promotion and so on, Gambians, the majority of the Gambians appreciate it. So I think what many people appreciate, let it be live like that, and then the people will decide for themselves. So basically that's it. And then the decision to petition Pura, it was a very good move anyway. It was a very good move, and I think once the petition is delivered, the government is supposed to act on the petition and make sure at least the GSM companies are also being assessed properly, because the way sometimes we see this data, just go like that is sometimes a question. Personally, a layman cannot exactly understand where will I form, where will I, how will I know that this is exactly how they are charging me. So I think what the government is supposed to do is to come out and then explain to the people exactly these are the ways that we, the GSM computers, are charging you people, and this is what is happening. So whatever becomes the complaint of the customers, Pura and the entire government is supposed to come out and then clarify the area for them. So basically this is my take on it. To me, it's not a very good move. The government should have leave it, or Pura anyway, should have leave it to go as we wanted. And then from there, the GSM is the survival of the fittest, because we say it's a free market, capitalism. Let the competition go, and then the citizens enjoy.
It was enjoyable,
sure.
But definitely. Yeah, okay. And also, we've seen that there is another organization which is YAIM, Youth Against Irregular Migration.
Sure.
Yeah, which you are also part of. What is this organization all about, and what it is that they do?
Yes, like I tell you, I'm currently on migration advocacy. Before going, I was doing a migration advocacy, and now that I return, I am also doing migration advocacy. In fact, more, because now I don't, advocate based on what I hear or based on hearsay. I advocate based on the experience and the realities that I witness and see on the ground. So, Youth Against Irregular Migration is an organization of backway returnees. Each were backway returnees, backway migrants who were from the Gambia. They left the Gambia in 2016 and were on the journey to Europe, and then they were imprisoned in Libya. And when they find themselves in the prisons, what they do was that they come together as Gambians and then come up with the idea that when we return back to the Gambia, let's form an organization. We use our experience, we use stories to sensitize the people about irregular migration. So the idea was the organization Youth Against Irregular Migration was formed in prison, and when they came to the Gambia, then they decided to formally register it in 2017, legally registered, and from there they started embarking on projects sensitizing the people about irregular migration. And that is where I came, they came to our school in 2018, and then they sensitized us, they tell us their story, and I was inspired, and from that time I started working with them until today. So they are trying their level best. We are trying our level best to make sure that we sensitize the people. We make sure that citizens are well informed about this irregular migration, so that they can know the dangers and the risks, and make sure they recalculate their decision before embarking on this journey. But we don't also stop at there. We also try to also offer some support to the migrant returnees and to our members through our partners. And then also we advocate for youth empowerment and also explore local opportunities. Recently we are currently on a nationwide tour where we take institutions to see what are the opportunities available there for the young people. And now once we know those opportunities, we now come back to our members, come back to the rest of the youths, and then tell them that, okay, if you are interested in this area, there's an opportunity here, there's an opportunity there. So basically this is what the organization do as a back migrant returnee. Migrant returnees organization, but we have members, beyond migrants. We have potential migrants, we have migrant returnees, and when we have anybody who is interested, you can always join the organization, because Bagwe Rohi is a collective, is something that is what Bagwe is killing in the Gambia and in Africa. There is no disease, there is nothing, not war, no disease that is killing the number of people. Imagine a boat will just go and then at once and then kill more than 50 people because it capsizes or have a problem. There is nothing that is killing that number of people here. So the attention have to be given to irregular migration. Everybody have to come together with our, put our efforts together and make sure we sensitize and they help the young people so that they will not risk their life in this irregular migration. So basically, this is what we do as an organization, and this is what everybody's role is supposed to be. Advocating against irregular migration, empowering young people, and making sure that Bagwe becomes a thing of the past and not a name, a household name that wherever you go, people tell that, okay, the only way to make it is Bagwe. That's not the solution. So basically, this is my take on that particular area.
Okay, well, you people are doing great, and I hope
Thank you
Allah
so much.
helps you along the way.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, we've already exhausted our time.
So,
What is your final message to the people before you leave?
well, my final message to the people, to the youth, is that let them believe in themselves. Let them believe in themselves, let them believe in their country, and let them try to explore any opportunity that they have in the country. Yeah. Don't take anything for granted, and then maintain peace all the time and be law abiding, because we will be the future of this particular country. By the year 2045, 2050, you know, we will be the people in that in particular in different government. We have to work on building ourselves for now. We have to work on making sure that we acquire skills, we acquire better education, so that tomorrow we can bring the change that we want in the Gambia. There's nowhere in the world that you will bring change without skills, without, you know, better education, and without love in your country, and without patriotism. So all these things are collective issues that I'm encouraging the young people to also try to explore this one. You cannot advocate for change when you yourself, you have not served your country enough. So before you stand and say, okay, the government doesn't do this, the government do that, okay, try to also see what you can do for your country. Try to have a sustainable source of income. Try to have a better education, so that tomorrow you can serve as a role model, and you can also contribute better to the development of your country. And to my message to also the government is that irregular migration is something that you have to always try to, you know, consider. The media have a role to play on that particular area, and I believe many reports coming out about irregular migration, very dangerous report. Most of the time we don't see, you know, the government media like the GRTs publishing those ones. So we believe they don't have to shy away from publishing those particular issues. Let them publish, use it positive to sensitize the people, because irregular migration is something very, very dangerous here in the country. So everybody have a role to play in this irregular migration. Let's try to come together and make sure that we empower one another, and make sure that our youths, the future of the Gambia, will not drown in the sea, or will not, you know, be left, you know, hopeless in that particular journey, because backway is never the solution to the problems of our country.
Okay, thank you very much, Cisse Mora.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure having you here today.
Thank you very much, and I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the interview, and I hope that the young people will learn from here, and that, you know, every youth are down there will also look forward to see how best they can help our country to move forward.
Okay, inshallah, Allah will guide everyone.
Thank you very
including
much.
the CSS. Thank you guys very much. This is how we've come to the end of the program. And today here with me is Mr. Penn, a poet at Backway Returnee, and a teacher also, and an inspiration to the younger generation. And this is the Political Hour Show, where we invite politicians, women, and youths to discuss about the trending issues in our country here. For more of these updates, you can kindly follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe. Sponsors are also invited. I could call on the numbers on the screen to sponsor this program. Till next week, inshallah.